Deadpool 2 is directed by David Leitch and stars Ryan Reynolds, Josh Brolin, Morena Baccarin, Brianna Hildebrand, Zazie Beetz, Julian Dennison, and Karen Sony. It continues the story of Deadpool, who, in undergoing a crisis in his life, finds himself in the position of defending a child who is being hunted down by the time traveling soldier Cable. Now, as I mentioned in my Deadpool review, I did enjoy the first film very much, but I wasn't enamored by it in the same way that general audiences were when they first saw it. I respect what it was, as it did end up much better than it had any right to be, but yeah, I kinda wanted a little more from it. It's in that regard that Deadpool 2 delivers. This movie is one that I adored. This film has everything from the first, but goes in way deeper than the first ever did, in every sense of the word. For one, Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson is extremely charming as usual. He retains much of his quick-witted delivery and mannerisms from the first film, and really brings it here. There's also a surprising amount of heartfelt scenes in such a funny movie, but when Reynolds needs to get emotional, he certainly has the chops to do it. Partnering him in a way here is Josh Brolin's Cable, who is an excellent foil for Reynolds to work off of. His stoicism, his lack of a sense of humor, and a sternness allow for plenty of jokes at his expense, which, for the most part, work. Speaking of the jokes, I feel like the jokes in this film worked a lot better than in the first. And I say that as a person who thinks that the first film was hilarious. The film took every opportunity to tell a joke when it saw one with zero hesitation. When going into a film, such as that of Deadpool 2, you expect to laugh, and the people behind the film know this. It's evident in the way that the film is directed that audiences' laughter is the first and foremost priority, and it is extremely enjoyable for the most part due to that. The action sequences here are extremely well handled, which is an improvement to the already great action sequences from the first film. The sequences here are clear, visceral, and they flow in a very smooth fashion. When looking at the director's previous projects, being behind films such as the John Wick movies and Captain America Civil War, it's not surprising that this is the case. There's also a lot more vibrance in the shots, which was something that was a little lacking in the first film. There's a wider variety of colors on display. It makes the film a lot more pleasurable to see. The supporting cast for this film is extremely fun to watch. Julian Dennison's Russell is fun, if a little cringy at times, admittedly. Zazie Beetz' Domino is an amazing character, who I desperately want to see more of. Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and newcomer Yukio add that mutant element to the film that makes the universe seem a lot larger, and thus adds to the fun element of the film. And my favorite of them all, Karen Sony's Dopinder, is allowed to shine far more here than in the previous film. Now, the plot is where the movie falters a little. Unlike in the first film, the plot is less focused. As I mentioned earlier, the film will go for the joke no matter what, and sometimes this is at the expense of the story structure or narrative. It can really detract from what's currently happening on screen, sometimes taking you away from what's going on. And I really think this is one aspect of the film that the first handled far better. Another minor problem I have with the film is a little spoilery, but I'll try to explain it best I can without giving anything away. The film makes a big decision in the opening act, one which completely alters where the film is going and the characters along with it. The characters adapt and deal with the consequence of what happened all throughout the film, but by the end, this big decision made is reversed in a way. This doesn't really sit too well with me. It makes it seem like someone's mind couldn't be made up about where they wanted the film to go. Had the film maybe stuck with the consequences of what had happened, I'd be happier with the film. If the film hadn't made that big decision in the first place, I'd be happier with the film. But you really can't have it both ways. And as is to be expected with superhero films, there are times when the visuals don't really sell themselves to me. The CGI, while for the most part is good, is glaringly bad when done poorly. They make a joke about having a big CGI battle in the film, but just because you make a joke of it doesn't excuse it. All in all, though, this film is incredibly enjoyable. Sure, it's a little more messy than the first film, but in the same way that a party can be more fun the messier it gets, This movie, in my opinion, is a lot more fun than the first. It retains all the charm from the original one and builds on it to deliver an extremely enjoyable romp. I give Deadpool 2 an 8 out of 10. So yeah, the videos are coming a little more sparingly than I'd have liked. Between my studies and all that, it's kind of hard to put videos out on a weekly basis. That's not to say I won't do my best though, I am doing my best. I really enjoy making these kinds of videos and I want to continue doing this. So I will be putting out content eventually, no matter what. Anyway, do subscribe if you want to see more of these kind of videos, and again, thank you so much for watching.